And welcome to my new Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. When I first played the Game Boy Color version, Link's Awakening DX, for the 3DS Virtual Console, it quickly became one of my favorite 2D Zeldas. And I've been wanting to do a Let's Play for a while now, but now that the remake is out, I figure I might as well just play this version. So, we're going to be playing on normal mode because I am not feeling confident about double damage and no heart drops. So we are also going to use the default name of Link for this playthrough. What a relief. I thought you'd never wake up. You were tossing and turning? What? Zelda? No, my name's Marin. You must still be feeling a little woozy. You are on Koholint Island. Follow the lane south to reach the beach where I found you. Since you washed ashore, lots of nasty monsters have been in the area, so be careful, okay? Well, Link, you finally snapped out of it. Name's Terran. Hope you're feeling better. What? How did I know your name? You think it's weird, eh? Well, I saw it on the back of this shield. You got your shield back. Hold R to repel enemies with it. So we have our shield mapped to the right shoulder buttons, either ZR or R work. This is a huge step up from the original game where you have to actually use it as an equipable item. So this was originally released in 1993 for the Game Boy, and then re-released in 98 for the Game Boy Color. Both versions only have 2 buttons. So it's really nice having the shield as a permanent item. So we are in Mabe Village, our little starting town, and we have to go south, as per Marin's advice. So we have Octoroks, we can block their attacks with the shield, which is, again, so much easier in this version, while it's on its own dedicated button. And we can push aside these urchins. They kind of look like Gordos from Kirby, and I feel like that's not a coincidence, which should become apparent a little bit later on. Anyway, down here is our sword. Hoot hoot, so you're the lad who owns the sword. Now I understand why the monsters are starting to act so violently. A courageous lad has come to wake the windfish. It is said that you cannot leave the island unless you wake the windfish. You should go to the north, to the mysterious forest, and we'll wait for you there, Hoot. You found your sword. It must be yours because it has your name engraved on it. You can swing it with B to attack any enemy in your path. So this plays like your standard top-down 2D Zelda. You move with the control stick. The D-pad does not work, sadly, which was actually a pretty sizable complaint for this game, because obviously, you might notice, it's an 8-directional game. You can see Link kind of snapping to different directions. Yeah, it looks like it should have D-pad controls, but it's analog only, which is kind of odd, because it's not really a game where you need to walk, to be honest. And you can walk, but it doesn't really benefit you at all, so again, that's a little weird. Again, the sword was another item that had to be equipped, so having it on B permanently is kind of nice. By the way, this will be a deathless run, because there is actually something special you get by beating this game without dying once. I heard that you can press minus to look at the island map. Not only that, you can stick pins in it with A, and remember stuff with X. But I don't understand what they mean by that. Following this kid's advice, yeah, we have our full map. You can push X to see where key events took place, where you found pieces of hearts, and where you found secret seashells, which is a new feature to this version, and a big part of why I like the Switch version. You can also place down pins if you see an item but can't get to it yet. It's very handy. I hear that when you're running out of hearts, you'd better go find a big fairy. Why? I have no idea. I'm just a kid. So up here, past the Chain Chomp House, we have the entrance to the mysterious forest, but first, we want to jump down this well. Where we can find a piece of heart, our first piece of heart. Press plus to open the subscreen and see. So once we get 4 pieces of heart, we get another heart container. So we definitely want to try to get as many as we can early on. I am going to try to go for 100%. It's going to be a little bit difficult because of some of the additions to the Switch version, but I'll try to do my best. Hoot, ho brave lad, on your quest to wake the dreamer, welcome to the mysterious forest. Much of mystery you will find on this uncharted Koholint Island. I'm afraid you may find it a trifle difficult to leave the island while the windfish naps. By the by, have you ever visited the Tail Cave, which is south of the village? Go there with the key you find in this forest. The windfish is watching, hoot. So we need to find the key, but while we're doing so, we have our first moblins. They go down pretty easily in this game, like so. So obviously a big improvement was the presentation, which has this look kind of similar to the photos from the original Link's Awakening. Actually, I don't think the photos are in the original. They're only in the Game Boy Color game. There was a little photo booth where you can see commemorative photos for specific story events and little side activities. So it's definitely an acquired taste. I know it was kind of polarizing when it was announced, especially because of the opening using full animation and this being a very different look to the opening. But I personally like the art style. It's very unique. You got 50 rupees, very nice. I do kind of miss the Link Between Worlds art style because that is my absolute favorite 2D Zelda. This is my second favorite 2D Zelda, and then Link Between Worlds is my absolute favorite. So I kind of wish they'd went with that style, especially because of the fact that this was designed as a sort of sequel or remake, actually, of Link to the Past originally. So for the Game Boy, they wanted to basically port Link to the Past and ended up making a separate game instead. You pick the toadstool. As you hold it over your head, a mellow aroma flows into your nostrils. I find it also kind of funny that the same thing happened with A Link Between Worlds, where they're like, let's remake A Link to the Past, and then they end up making a totally separate game instead. I actually like A Link to the Past less than A Link Between Worlds, just as a side note, because I can never Let's Play that game because I don't have a way to easily capture 3DS games as much as I'd love to do that game. But yeah. You can definitely see a lot of inspiration in the original Link's Awakening, like the art style. A lot of enemies get reused, which we'll see a little bit later. And to get another complaint out of the way early on, the performance of the Switch version is actually worse than the original. The original ran at a pretty stable 60 frames per second. Also, we got a Guardian Acorn. It will reduce the damage you take by half. So these were items in the original game. You got a piece of power, you can feel the energy flowing through you. So we have double defense and double damage. But yeah, the frame rate isn't great. Oftentimes when you enter a new area like that, it drops down to 30. Which isn't ideal, but then it smooths out over time. I think it has to do with a dynamic resolution, because the game does feel like it runs at dynamic resolution, because sometimes you can see the graphics improve, like you flip a switch practically, and the graphics get a little bit better. Ah, it has the sleepy toadstool it does. Well, we'll mix up something in a jiffy, we will. It's all ready, it is. Take care, as there's not much there. Why not try a bit in my hut? You got some magic powder. Open the subscreen with plus and set it to either X or Y. So like in Link Between Worlds, we can equip items separately. Again, originally, good job. Use it on your enemies and see what happens. If you run out, go to the forest, pick some toadstools, and I will make you more. Come back without a toadstool, and you may have to pay a price for my leftovers. So, reminder, in the original, the sword and shield would also have to be mapped. So, having the sword and shield permanent, and then only other items be equipable items is really handy. But yeah, magic powder on the little blob enemies kind of makes their eyes all kind of go wild. Yeah, this is a really great game, if you ask me. I do like the world of Koholint Island, probably more than Hyrule, actually. Also, these are new. These moblins were a lot easier to take down, but because the shield is a permanent item now, you have to block their attack to get them to lower their guard, so it's a little bit of an extra step to take them out. There's also a great fairy in the woods somewhere, and to be honest, I forgot. Oh, there it is. We don't need a heal at the moment, so obviously we don't need to do this, but just in case you need hearts, there was a great fairy to heal you up. So now that we have the magic powder, we need to go back to where that Tanuki was. I think we passed by the Tanuki. I didn't mean to actually do that. It's a little bit weird because I'm used a little bit to pressing Y to attack in games. So, it's a little bit awkward, having Y be the equipable item. As a raccoon, my nose is very sensitive to stuff like dust and powder. The last thing I can remember was biting into a big, juicy toadstool, and then I had the darndest dream. I was a raccoon. Yeah, it sounds strange, but it sure was fun. I'm all tuckered out. I think I better set a spell before I head home. Cool. So we rescued Terran. And if we go a little bit farther into the woods, we can find... You got the tail key. Now you can open the tail cave gate. Hoot, take the key and go to the tail cave. Retrieve the instrument that is hidden there. Go now. The windfish is waiting, Hoot. Alright, so we have access to our first dungeon. That didn't take long at all, did it? This is a pretty short game. It was for the Game Boy, so obviously it wasn't exactly that beefy of a game. The Switch version does add some things to try to pad out the runtime, to be blunt. But yeah, we will be going for everything, hopefully. I don't know how in-depth I'll get with a couple things without going into spoiler territory. So we could go to the Tail Cave, or we could spend some time exploring Mabe Village. So this is Marin and Terran's house. Down here is a hint place, if I'm not mistaken. Pring, hello, it's me, Ulrara. Ask me anything about the island. If you get lost, give me a call. You know, there is a library in the village that might have some good information for you. Talk to you later. Click. So yeah, that's just a way to get little hints across, in case you get really stumped. We have another little house here. But yeah, specifically when entering and exiting buildings, the frame rate can get pretty dicey. How to say, please call outside. It seems that Old Man O'Rira is a shy guy in person. Alright. And we have a few more buildings to explore. Like that little shop down there. This place up here. Also, it's kind of interesting how this game blurs the edges of the screen to kind of emphasize the top-down nature of it. It's a little bit disorienting at times, if you try to look at the edges. I recommend looking kind of centered for that reason. I wish it was optional. Again, I was also waiting for a patch, potentially, to fix this. At least add a toggle, and also add D-pad support, hopefully, and also maybe iron out some frame rate stuff, but sadly they never patched this game beyond one small bug fix update. But with that being said, I think we are going to call it here for now. Next time, we are going to see what else the village has in store for us. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.